What's good? Peace, guys. Let's talk about and discuss NXT for March the 21st, 2023. Oh boy. I despise multi-person matches. And it seems like we're getting a lot of them for Stand and Deliver. And I do not like it. I do not. I cannot stand multi-person matches. Nothing too much happened on this show. Nothing, worth talking about. It was a decent show nonetheless. It was not good. It was not bad. It was just decent or okay or all right. You can use those words if you'd like. Excuse me. That's just how I feel. So, Pretty Deadly kicks off the show. And they said that their first official act as host is to wipe the footage of Carmelo Hayes and Bron Breakker from last week's show when they put them through a table. They go on about how Carmelo and Bron attacked them last week. They also reveal they have custom outfits planned for Stand and Deliver. And they continue to knock and taunt Bron and Carmelo, making fun of what they wore last week. They say main event talent, but not main event fashion. I thought that was kind of funny. So, out comes Trick and Mello. They interrupt Pretty Deadly. So, they take a couple of shots at Pretty Deadly. Trick yells at him, makes fun of him, told him to stay out of grown folks' business. And then Pretty Deadly says there's a breakdown in the communication. There's a breakdown of communication. As Pretty Deadly only speaks the King's English. But they understand that Trick and Mello want a tag match tonight. So Trick and Mello they're down for it. But Trick switches up things and reveals that he wants Bron Breakker to team with Carmelo Hayes. And so Hayes is a bit confused. So Pretty Deadly, they attempt a sneak attack. They fight Trick off, and they beat down on Carmelo. Then he's saved by Bron, and Bron starts doing his suplexes and stuff to both guys to Pretty Deadly, and he throws him over the top rope while Carmelo's still laying down, selling what happened to him. So Bron then helps up Carmelo, and then they shake hands and they hold fists. Bron says he'll make sure nothing happens to Carmelo between now and Stand and Deliver. And then Carmelo pulls away quickly and then dips out. Okay, I'm fine with this. This is a pretty fun, okay segment to start the show. So we come back from commercial break. Williams is backstage with Mello. So Carmelo, he's not thrilled with Trick Williams booking him to team with Bron Breakker. Carmelo says if Bron wants his best at Los Angeles, he'll get it, but he's not happy with tonight's team up. Trick makes the case for Mello being able to learn all about Bron Breakker in their match tonight. Tagging with him tonight. Trick says he'll make sure they win tonight, and he'll handle business. Then Carmelo will have a cheat code. He'll be ready for a Stand and Deliver. Okay, I'm fine with this. We also get a little bit of an update surrounding Roxanne Perez. She's doing a lot better, but they still don't know a timetable for her return. So who knows when. I think what they're going to do is probably end up fast-tracking her to the main roster. That's what they're going to do. It just everything seems to be pointing that way, in that direction. And I guess that's the best plan of action if you want to do it. But I don't know, because Roxanne Perez just doesn't seem ready yet, even though she's been in NXT for a while. She's just not ready yet. I feel like she could easily stay for the remainder of the year in NXT, and then in 2024, move her to the main roster. That's what I would do. But Roxanne is just, to me, she's just not ready. I mean, I do like her, but she doesn't have a character. She just doesn't. She's just a happy-go-lucky, you know? And I get it. She's done her time on the Indies and Ring of Honor and training with Booker T and all that. I understand that, but we need a character from Roxanne. We really, really do. Moving on. First match of the night. Another women's qualifier match. Indy Hartwell versus Tiffany Stratton. My girl Tiffany Stratton wins via the moonsault, which I love. It's time for Indy Hartwell to leave NXT. Seriously. It's time for her to leave. Like, she's been there for what? 3.5 years? She's got to go. Put her on the main roster. Raw or SmackDown, I don't care. But I'm tired of seeing her in NXT. She's been there long enough. All right, so moving on. The Creed brothers and Gallus, they're playing pool at a local pub somewhere. So the Creeds, they said that darts is more their style. So we get a game of darts. The Creeds, they win the dart game, but the two teams agreed to one more round. The Creeds also win that round of darts. Gallus and the Creeds proposed a title match, standing to deliver to settle it. The Creeds are looking forward to getting their titles back, but Gallus plans to retain. They shake hands and then they leave the pub. Then we see Tony D'Angelo, and Stax. They're waiting in the parking lot. And Tony D says they have stand and deliver business to discuss. And the three teams, they go back to the bar to discuss it. Julius Creed says it's going to be a long night. And I dread this because why? We all know this is going to set up for a triple threat tag match between the three teams. And I hate triple threats. I hate it. I do not like multi-man matches at all. Moving on. So we get a vignette from Lyra Valkyria. So she's running up the stairs to the top of the floor in an abandoned building. And then she says that she's ready for stand and deliver because she's ready to soar. Okay, that's cool. Moving on. So Mackenzie Mitchell, she's backstage with Gigi Dolan. She asked Gigi about the ladder match lineup for stand and deliver so far. Gigi says it's too early to judge the field. And if it wasn't for the injury to Roxanne Perez, the match wouldn't even be happening, which is correct. Gigi says it's also sucks that sucks for JC Daniels' shoulder, but sorry, not sorry, because JC made her life a living hell and can watch from home while she wins the title at Stand and Deliver. Gigi continues on about winning her last steel cage match, well, actually her last ladder match, and says she has what it takes. She'll do what it takes to win the title. So Tiffany Stratton, she walks up and she says all other participants are screwed because she disqualified. She has a Tiffany epiphany and says she's going to climb up and win the title. And then she says toodles, and then Stratton dips out. Okay, I like that. But we all know that this is pointing to JC returning at Stand and Deliver and screwing over Gigi to continue their feud. So I do like that. And I think one of the picks to win for me is going to be Tiffany Stratton to win the ladder match. Moving on. So Wesley, he gets on the mic. Oh, boy. And he asks if if the fans are enjoying these crazy opening challenges, and the fans say they are, he said that he is too, but everyone keeps asking why. So Lee talks about how he had to fight for a chance. So now, as champion, he's vowed to give opportunities to others who are in the same spot he was in. Wesley admires. He admits he has a chip on his shoulder and will show he's ready to compete against the best in the world. He deserves to be our champion. So, Wesley then mentions, how Shawn Michaels made the match official and everything else. And he mentions he gave him 4 spots at Stand and Deliver title match. So out comes Dragon Lee. He gets a really good pop. So both Wesley and Dragon Lee, they greet each other. Dragon says he came to NXT for the same reason Wes is here. Dragon says to him, Wes is the best right now, and he loves this chaos. But he wants a spot in the Stand and Deliver match. Wes likes this, and he followed Dragon Lee around the world. So he mentions like Japan and his time in Mexico, and hoped that they would compete against each other. So Wes figured it would be several months, like 6 to 8 months before Dragon was ready. But he's going to go ahead and give him the first spot for Stand and Deliver. So that excites the fans, and that excites me, which is great. I do wish it was just a one-on-one match, Wesley versus Dragon Lee. I think that could bang, actually. I really do. But then we get my boy JD McDonough. He comes out. He brings up how they're all just out here. He brings up how they're out here talking while he's preparing in the back. He says Dragon gets a 1-week pass because he's new, but he suggests Dragon take a seat and watch him destroy Ilya Dragunov. JD asks Wes what his excuse is. Wes says he can't wait to see Dragunov tear JD apart. JD says Lee is lucky he hasn't had his eye on the title, or Wes wouldn't be even standing here. And then out comes Ilya Dragunov. So we get JD McDonough versus Ilya Dragunov. It's a no contest. So Wesley, Dragon Lee, Ilya, and JD McDonough, they all brawl. And then Wesley takes out everybody, I think, with a Trach Hilo. So, the match was solid, though, but we've seen it like a million times. So I'm glad that we got a no contest here. And they were all separated by officials. And the fans chanted, "Let them fight." Okay, cool. And all 4 of them were added into the ladder match. Added into the Fatal 5-Way. Next week is going to be a Battle Royal. So Trick and Mello, they're backstage with Bron Breakker. So Carmelo says he didn't need Bron's help earlier. Bron says doesn't want this either. To do this either. He just wants to be the best version. My bad. He just wants to get the best version of Carmelo at Stand and Deliver. He's not going to let 2 clowns, Pretty Deadly or Trick Carmelo, screw it up. Carmelo asks what he means by that, and Bron says Trick always shows up. He's always up to something, that being Trick Williams. Trick says he just wanted to help Bron share the ring with a future world champion. Mello and Breakker, they agree that they want the best at Stand and Deliver. They agree to finish this tonight in the main event. And then Mello and Bron, they stare at each other. And then Trick Williams, he backs away from Mello and Bron. Okay. Pretty cool stuff. I think we might be getting some seeds planted with Trick possibly turning on Mello. It kind of just seems like it. Moving on. Mackenzie Mitchell, she's backstage with Wesley. She says the chaos really follows him. Lee says he really had to throw him in the fire in this one. He says Ilya Dragunov and JD McDonough will never be done with each other. But JD has been in his face for 2 weeks, and Ilya is one of Europe's finest. So they're in the Fatal 5-Way, and with he and Dragon Lee. So Mackenzie asked who would get the final spot in the Stand and Deliver ladder match. The Stand and Deliver title match. Axiom, he rushes up. He wants the spot. Lee says he knows Axiom wants this spot, but he's been close, and so have others. Lee says the cast will continue next week with a battle royal to determine the final challenger at Stand and Deliver in the Fatal 5-Way. Axiom says that's all he wanted. What's a chance? Then Axiom dips out. Okay, that's fine. So we hear Johnny Gargano's theme music, but it's not actually Johnny Gargano. It's my boy Javier Bernal. So he's dressed as Gargano, so the fans start to boo. So Bernal says everyone thought Gargano was coming out, but they're wrong. Just like he thought he was going to stand in and deliver, but he's not. And that's Gargano's fault. So Bernal goes on about how he's the heart and soul of NXT. He's been busting his ass for 7 years or 7 months. So Bernal continues to run in his mouth, and then we get the real Johnny Gargano, and he beats down Javier Bernal and throws him into the crowd. So Gargano, he screams for Grayson Waller. Gargano says if Waller wants to make this personal, then they can raise the stakes. So Johnny pulls out a contract to make their Stand and Deliver match an unsanctioned match. Gargano says no rules. No one will be liable for what he does to Grayson Waller. So just come down in here and sign it. So we see Grayson Waller on the Titantron. He says he knows Gargano is embarrassed over last week, but does he really want to do this to himself? Gargano calls Waller to come to the ring, but Waller isn't coming because Gargano is unhinged. Grayson Waller tells Johnny Gargano to give the contract to his friend Vic. Then he'll sign it next week, but only if Gargano is banned from the building. Johnny agrees and then hands the contract to Vic. And then Javier Bernal, he crawls back into the ring and he eats a super kick from Gargano. Okay, that was okay. So we get a pretty cool vignette for Eddie Thorpe, a.k.a. Carl Fredericks from New Japan. Says that there's more to us than you think. He appreciates the significance of his heritage, but has to carry the responsibility of progression. Thorpe will hold his people up and lead the way forward. So we're going to see him next week. Okay, that's cool. Makes sense. Although I would kind of like to see him maybe the NXT after Stand and Deliver. I think that would be a lot better than just putting him on the Go Home show. I don't know. I would have done a couple more vignettes. Like we could have done at least one more week of a vignette. Seriously. And we could have done at least three weeks of vignettes and then bring him in sometime in April. Like seriously. I think they're rushing this too quickly. And I do like Carl Fredericks. Dude's solid. So Mackenzie mentions she's backstage with my girl Ivy Nile, asking her about Tatum Paxley. Ivy says she was surprised by last week's attack, like everyone else was. She said she took a long time to trust someone like she did Tatum, and she got burned. She says Tatum was out there so she and the Creed brothers could let her do her own thing, but they always felt like she was a part of the Diamond Mine. Ivy Nile says tonight isn't about Tatum. It's about a huge opportunity to potentially win the title at Stand and Deliver, and Tatum can't stop that. So this is our second women's qualifier of the night. Ivy Nile versus Lyra Valkyria. Lyra Valkyria wins via the roundhouse kick. So my girl Ivy keeps taking losses. I feel so bad for my girl. I really, really do. I was hoping they were going to give her more of a push, but it doesn't seem like they're going to. And it's a damn shame. It's a damn shame. So Aladon and Alba Fire, they attack Fallon Henley in the back. And Kenna James makes the save. So officials and refs, they're keeping them apart. So Kiana just wants to keep this from Brooks, and Fallon agrees. So earlier on, I forgot to mention, earlier on in the show, basically, Kiana, she owned up to cheating on Jensen, and basically Fallon, she spilled the beans, and she said that she went into Kiana's office and everything else, and she found out Sebastian, and she owned up to it. She found her journal and everything, so makes sense. And I was right all along. We all knew this was going to be a ruse, and we all knew that Kiana was going to break Jensen's heart. So it makes a lot of sense, and I like this. Moving on, so Wesley, he's walking backstage. So he's asked who his pick is to win the Battle Royal next week, but he can't make that call. So Jinder Mahal, he walks up and walks by and says that he'll stand and deliver. Dijak says that he walks by, he hadn't forgot about Wesley, and then Wesley sees Dabba-Kato, and he says there is no one who will stop him from winning the Battle Royal. Okay. Then we get the great debate. It was moderated by Blake Howard. It's between the Schism and Chase U. So Duke, Hudson, and Rip Fowler, they're up first. They're discussing how their group handles inclusion. So Fowler talks about how Duke will be welcomed with open arms after Ava gave him a mask as an invitation. Duke is at a loss for words, or he could just be annoyed here, which he seems like he was. So Duke says Chase U gave him a reason, and he guesses it was nice to be included in things, but yeah, that's what he thinks about inclusion. So Duke, he sits down, and then Andre asks, what the fuck was that? That's exactly what he says, but it's bleeped out. And Ava and Thea Hale, they're up next. So they're asked about how their group makes them feel safe. Ava goes on about being in the comfort of the schisms. Ava goes on about being in the comfortable and loving arms under the schism tree. She says the schism will raise its own walls to block out any false sense of security, allowing your mind and body to wander freely. And then Thea, she reads the Webster's Dictionary of Safety. She goes on and says that the schism is just brainwashes you, and it's hazardous to your mind, body, and soul. And she says thank you, and the Chase U students, they cheer. So Andre Chase is impressed, and he asks, where the hell did that come from? She just says she doesn't know. She just blocked everything out. She just blacked out. My bad. Moving on. So the final ones are Joe Gacy and Andre Chase. So they're up next. They are asked about how they feel about the preparedness of their group members to leave the nest. So Joe Gacy cuts off Andre Chase and says that his students already answered this. They're not prepared and don't know which way is up. So Joe Gacy tells Howard to tally up the scores. Then Tyler Bate, he suddenly speaks up and from the crowd. So he apologizes for his tardiness. So Jagged Reed steps up and to face Bate, and they're asked to sum up the experience of their group. Jagged says it's simple. There are 4 roots, 1 tree. And then Bate says to excel in NXT, it takes more than just physical prowess in the ring. It takes a big, strong mind, being open to new ideas, collaborate and learn, and a willingness to listen to others as they would you. He says the Chase U experience is one of growth. It has ignited a career in Thea Hell, rejuvenated Duke, and fortified Andre Chase himself. He says growth of Chase U is growth of NXT, and they have something the Schism will never have. And then Chase U, they cheer for Bate, and then Andre Chase thanks Tyler Bate for his incredible speech. So Bate proposes a match for Stratton and Deliver. Gacy says no. The Dyad beat them in tag team action, and Gacy beat him one-on-one. That being Andre Chase. Gacy says the Schism is superior physically and philosophically to Chase U. The Schism goes on to leave, but Duke says go up the ante. The winner of the match, Stratton and Deliver, will take control of Chase U. So Andre Chase asks Duke what's he doing, what's he on, and Joe Gacy says they're on. So that's pretty cool. That was all right. And then let me see what else happened here. Let me refresh the page. Oh yeah, it was after that was the main event. So the main event. Oh no, it's not main event. My bad. So we get more bar footage. So the pub is on a wreck. So Gallus is up, but the other 2 teams, they're partied out. They're all laying there, all drunk and all that. So Gallus tells them to bring all of that fun to Los Angeles for a triple threat. Gallus says they'll see them there, and then they exit the pub, but remind the others to tip the bartender. And everyone else is barely awake, and nobody's on their feet. So there's that. Then the main event, Bron Breakker and Carmelo Hayes versus Pretty Deadly. Carmelo Hayes wins via the nothing but net, and then Bron does a spear, and then he tags in Melo to finish off the match. And then they have a stare down, and that was NXT. NXT this week was okay. One thing that I did like was how everything tied together. Every champion was doing something. So that was the most important aspect of it all. I don't like these multi-person matches, but it is what it is. It makes sense. I like the whole the whole Chase U and Tyler Bate versus Schism thing. That's pretty cool. That could actually mean a call-up for Andre Chase. And really and truthfully, people have to realize that gimmick was to get Brody Haywood over, and he's no longer with the company. And I do think that if Chase U loses, it does make sense for that gimmick to kind of go away. And that's been going on for well over a year. So, yeah. The show itself was decent, though. It was all right. I like the Bron Breakker stuff, although the Bron Breakker, Carmelo Hayes stuff, although there needs to be some more fuel to the fire, more heat to the feud. But we all know that Bron's getting called up. I do think that we'll see Trick Trick turn on Melo. NXT this week was okay. So on that note, thank you guys for watching. Please hit the like button, comment down below, and subscribe for more videos. I'll catch you guys later. Peace.